This is video 10.1.3, and the goal of this video is to learn a few strategies for making equations easier to solve. And we're going to do that by rewriting the equation with a simpler look. We're going to only perform legal moves and in order to rewrite the equation. So taking a look at the first example that's on your sheet, it's got lots going on. It's got fractions and it's got 8.5, a decimal. So we have two kind of dilemmas there. First, we're going to talk about getting rid of those fractions. So the ultimate goal here is to make a legal move to make the equation easier to solve. So the legal move has to be something you've done in the past, but what we're going to do is use what you've learned about fractions lately to help us make this easier to solve, to help us get rid of stuff that's on the bottom in the fraction that we don't want to deal with. So here's the number one thing. The trick is to see the move you have to make. That will take practice. Okay, so it is going to be hard to see the move you have to make at first, but once you get the hang of it, it will really help make everything easier. So in this example, we have a fraction that we want to take care of. We won't worry about the decimal because it's not too ugly. 8.5 is not that hard to deal with. But we do want to try and take care of these fractions. So how can we do that? Let's see. I want to take care of these fractions by getting rid of, let's focus on the 5 that's right here. I want to get rid of this 5. Now, remember, if something's in the bottom of a fraction, if we had that same thing in the top, it would cancel and make a 1. So that's exactly the legal move I'm going to make. I'm going to create that 5 in the top by multiplying every single thing by 5. So I'm going to multiply the entire equation by 5. That's a legal move. We did that to help us do elimination strategy. We've done this to help us solve equations before. Now we're going to do this to help us simplify this equation. So when I multiply everything by 5, the first fraction is 5x over 5. The second one, I'd have to distribute the 5. I can do 5 times 7 on top. And remember, when multiplying fractions, we multiply across top and bottom. So this 5 is really 5 over 1. So I get 35 over 2. And again, I have to do it on the right-hand side as well. And I'm going to get 42.5. So I've successfully found a 1 now that will help me get rid of that 5 that's in the bottom. Now I'm going to do something similar to help me get rid of the 2. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out this 1, forget about it, but I'm also going to get rid of this 2 in the same way. And once again, I'm going to create a 2 on top because 35 over 2, that's another decimal. So if I times everything by 2, again, I'm going to cancel out the 2 that's in the fraction I don't want. Now remember, this is a 1, so it's really just x in that first equation. So 2 times x is 2x. And then I'm going to do 2 times this. Now remember, that creates a 2 on top. So my fraction would be 2 times 35 over 2. I'm not even going to multiply that out, I'm just going to cancel them. Eventually you'll get so good at this you won't have to show your work. And then I'm going to do 2 times 42.5, which creates 85. Good, I got rid of that decimal as well. So now my equation is really as simple as 2x plus 35 equals 85. And I can continue solving from here. Minus 35 to get the x's alone. 2x equals 50. And divide both sides by 2. X is 25. Now, this process, yes, it took me 2 steps to get through to get rid of those fractions, but in the end, the equation was very easy to solve. So we made a legal move to help us rewrite this equation in a form that we're much better at solving. So, getting rid of fractions, we're going to create those 1s by doing this legal move of multiplying. So take a look at this one. We got the x in the bottom of the fraction. So how can we get that x out of the bottom? Well, again, we're going to do the same idea we've done before, and we're going to create an x on top, because if I have an x on top, I can cancel that big 1. But whatever I do to the first part, I have to do to everything. So really, I'm doing 40 over x minus 7 equals 3, and I'm timesing the whole thing by x over 1. And that will create this situation that I want and help me get rid of the x in the bottom. So I'm going to get 40x over x when I distribute here. Then the next distribution, 7 times x, I'm going to get minus 7x. And the final distribution, x times 3 on the other side, will give me 3x. So thinking about simplifying, there's my big 1 that I can cancel. I really have 40 minus 7x equals 3x. That is very easy for me to solve. I'm going to add 7x to both sides, and I get 40 equals 10x. One last step, I'm going to divide both sides by 10. And I see that 4 is the value for x. So this one step of multiplying by x is crucial. This step here is crucial to allowing me to get rid of this x in the bottom. And then everything becomes much easier to solve. So your number one goal with these fractions is to find a clever way to get rid of them. And the typical way we're going to do that is by multiplying what we see on the bottom, because then we'll make a 1 that will cancel. So give it your best shot on the worksheet that's ahead, and be sure to ask your teacher questions, okay? Another quick thing is we know we can check our answers by simply plugging them back in. So when we got 4 for x here, I can go back to my original equation, and I can plug in 4 for x, and I can calculate out and make sure this actually works. Does this actually equal 3 like it's supposed to? Well, 40 divided by 4 is 10 minus 7. That does equal 3. So that is my correct solution. X does, in fact, equal 4. So don't be afraid to check your answers by plugging them in and seeing if the equation is truly equal. That way you know, and that's a quick calculator check to make sure that you've done the right work here. So definitely give it your best shot and ask your teacher plenty of questions.